Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Space News Podcast. My name is Will, and did you know that a former White House aide has said that President Donald Trump offered NASA unlimited funding to go to Mars if they did it in his first term? Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but before I do, I want to say thank you to everybody who has been supporting this podcast by subscribing on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, any place that you can find the pod. Thank you so much for all of your help and also all of your ratings on iTunes. They really do help. And any comments you can give on iTunes with your ratings, that would really help as well. Positive ones are really great. So thank you so much for all of your support, Space Cadets. The Patreon is almost here as well, and I will be announcing that in a couple days once I get a video for it. So thank you again. But for now, let's take a look back in 2017 when President Donald Trump offered NASA unlimited funding for a trip to Mars. Well, he's not going to take the trip, but they're going to be sending humans to Mars according to this book that's coming out, right? That's what Trump wanted. He wanted NASA to send humans to Mars in his first term, but that didn't happen. So let's get into it a little. Cliff Sims has an upcoming book called Team of Vipers. And in that book, prior to a phone call with NASA astronaut Peggy Whitson from the Oval Office in April 2017, Trump pressed Robert Lightfoot Jr., who was then the acting NASA administrator for NASA's plans for Mars. Trump asked, "Is there any way we could do it by the end of my first term?" Who then told the president that NASA planned to try a manned space flight by the 2030s and that there were challenges of doing so before then. And this is a report from the New York Magazine. Trump then offered Lightfoot all the money you could ever need. So he said, "But what if I give you all the money you could ever need to do it? What if we sent NASA's budget through the roof, but focused entirely on that instead of whatever else you're doing now? Could it work then?" Lightfoot responded to the president by telling him he didn't think that it was possible, which left President Donald Trump very visibly disappointed. Who Sims wrote, he's the guy that wrote the book. He's a former White House communications staffer. He wrote that in the new book. And Trump also brought up the issue during a phone call with Whitson, saying that he wanted to get humans on Mars at worst during my second term. So take this all with a grain of salt. It's a he said, she said kind of thing. Don't know if this really happened. It's a book. You know, people want to sell copies. People want to make money. So it's possible that this never happened. Or if it did happen, it was just, messing around or whatever. Just be like, hey, I'm going to try to get you as much money as I can if we can do this. But the good thing is, Trump wanted to send humans to Mars as fast as possible, and he also wanted to increase NASA's spending budget. So that's a really great thing. And whether you're on the left side of the aisle, the right side of the aisle, right in the middle, wherever you are, sending humans to Mars will benefit humankind as a whole. Now let's get out of politics. I want to keep the politics out of the science, but I thought that was kind of a goofy thing, kind of a weird thing to add in there today. So a weird and bad thing happened to SpaceX when its test rocket toppled over thanks to strong Texas winds, says The Verge. So a prototype of SpaceX's next big rocket, the big silver StarShip, fell over in Boca Chica, Texas, because there was too much wind. It couldn't hold up to the wind and it toppled over. So that's bad. That's pretty bad. Hopefully it's structurally sound and they can transport it to a place where they can check it out and they can lift it up and see if it's okay, basically. At this point you can't really do anything with it. They're going to do tests on it and they're going to get the engineers in there to make sure that it's structurally sound so they can actually do these tests, because they're going to be doing some hop tests, getting it up to a certain amount of height and then landing it back down in Boca Chica, Texas. And Elon Musk said in a tweet that gusts over 50 miles per hour broke the Starship's mooring blocks used to secure the vehicle to the ground. And this caused the Starship's fairing, the top half of the spaceship, to fall over. Musk also noted that the actual propellant tanks needed for the prototype are totally fine. So this isn't a full production model yet. This is a smaller model. This is something that they're going to be doing testing on in the short term, and they're going to be doing hop tests, short hop tests with the vehicle. And it will be igniting the vehicle's engines and sending the rocket to low altitudes between 1640 and 16,400 feet before landing it back on Earth upright. And the flight should be similar to the hop test that SpaceX did with its Grasshopper prototype, meant to test out the technology needed for the Falcon 9's landing system. So that's what they're going to be doing with this StarShip. They're going to be doing a hop test to make sure that it lands properly. And considering this is a test vehicle, and only a test vehicle, this is a good thing that this happened now so they can put in precautions for the actual production models that they're going to be making in the future. So hopefully they get that all figured out. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's been supporting the podcast throughout this time that I've been doing it. I appreciate it. I'm still a little bit under the weather, so if I sound a little bit hoarse, I apologize. But thank you so much for everything you've done. And the Patreon's coming soon. A couple of you asked me about that. And it'll be coming next couple days. I got to record a video for it. But until then, this is the Space News by me. I'm Will. Thank you so much, Space Cadets. I will see you soon.